This episode is brought to you by Petimmune. Petimmune is an awesome company from California that makes natural probiotic supplements for cats and dogs. My question for you is, how healthy can our pets be if we're feeding them canned food that's the cheapest stuff we can get? They certainly are not getting the nutrients they need to be healthy as they can be. That's why I use Petimmune for Spartacus and Maximus, because my dog's got to get the best. Petimmune is a supplement that you mix into your standard pet food to help your pet's digestive health, immunity, and vitality. For 10% off, go to PettimmuneOnline.com and use the code ICE. That's PettimmuneOnline.com. Offer code ICE. Please support them since they're supporting us.
Upon initial contact with Ice-T's music, I had envisioned him to be an ill-mannered and psychologically unstable man with an extremely uneducated and barbaric frame of mind, whose raps displayed nothing but ridiculous jargon, shocking sexual audacity, and repulsive images of the ghetto. However, after further analysis of his music, I can deduce that he is the epitome of anti-disestablishment terrorism, who embodies the entire spectrum of the urban experience and struggle. But to make things more plain and simple to the layman, I find Ice-T to be the dopest, flyest, OG pimp, hustler, gangster player, hardcore motherfucker living today. To be honest, I am totally and completely on his dick.
Welcome to the Ice-T Final Level Podcast, featuring your co-host, Mick Benzo, and your host,
Ice-T.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is Ice-T and Mick Benzo, and you're listening to the Final Level Podcast number 18.
Number 18. We made 18 episodes of Final Level.
We really tickle ourselves every time we say the number, because we laugh, because they like, you're not going to get past 5 podcasts.
Wasn't supposed to. They said we was going to quit. We was going to quit.
You know why we've been doing this podcast consistently is because it actually is fun. The return that we're getting from our audience, the comments we're getting on Twitter, the way people are responding. I mean, people are very excited about that. People all over the world get to hear this.
No question. In other countries, too. That's the most important thing.
Well, that's all over the world, Mickey.
But it's other countries, man. I like to put it in country mode, man. Like Australia, Germany, South Africa.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man.
Sir. International.
Yeah, that's what we are.
International. So we're happy that you guys are enjoying it. Like Ice-T, one of my things is I will not whip a dead horse. If I'm doing something and y'all ain't feeling it, I will quickly stop and do something the fuck else. I'm not that guy that's gonna be up here talking and people like, Ice, man, shut the fuck up, And one of the beauties of a podcast is, the people that do listen really want to hear you. You have a very captive audience that are fans, are into what you're saying. There's no sane reason to listen to an hour of somebody talk
if they don't want to listen to it
that you hate.
Exactly.
So it's almost hater proof. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I like about it though? I like when Combat Jack came up here, right? And he was talking to us. That was real fly.
And Combat Jack, the reason we were so into Combat Jack is me and Mick, when we started this, the word was out, Ice-T, you might have the first, hip-hop podcast, or you're the first rapper doing a podcast. And, of course, I was excited. Well, later on, we found out Killer Mike had been doing one, down out of Atlanta. Respect to Killer Mike. But the biggest hip-hop podcast was the Combat Jack show.
But he's not a rapper, though.
He's not a rapper. But still,
He was a lawyer.
He's in the game.
He represented a lot of acts, though.
Yeah, but we wanted to find out who was over in our zone. So come to find out, the Combat Jack show. People like Ice, Combat Jack. So the word got out. People were telling me, go on his show. A lot of my friends ended up on his show. My man Ben Baller, after
Chuck D was on it.
Chuck's been on it. Glenn was. So everyone's telling me to do it. Next thing you know, I get contacted by Jack. Jack is very polite, very cool, respectful dude. Ice, would you be on my show? I'm like, yeah. So we're in the process of setting up his show, and I say, yo, we're doing our show. Dude showed up that day, like within 2 hours, He showed up and did our show. And that was love. I said, you know what? This is a real dude. So I went over and I did his show 3 hours, Mickey.
3 hours.
I talked for 3 hours.
Damn.
On the Combat Jack show. I think that if you listen to that show, you'll never have to ask me a fucking stupid question, because I told every bit.
You covered everything from A to Z about Ice-T.
I talked about you.
Exactly. Coco was on it.
Coco was on it. We talked about everything. But, this builds into my philosophy in podcasting is, as podcasters go, and this is a new genre, it helps when we show allegiance to each other instead of, I'm not cool with this person. I try to fight against that. I'm like, look, all us podcasters are in the same boat. This is a new thing. I mean, it's new to me. It's been around for a while. He's been doing this podcast for 4 years. 4 years. But I still think it's in its infancy. And that's why we have our special guest today, Mr. Alex Blumberg.
Yeah. And he has a podcast too.
Yeah. It's great to be here. It's really
now, Alex, the word on the street is you are starting your new podcast, and you explain a little bit about yourself, Alex.
So I worked until very recently for This American Life, which is one of the biggest podcasts out there. It's like always number 1 or 2 on iTunes. Mm-hmm. And then I also started this other podcast called Planet Money, and these are all sort of associated with NPR, with public radio, and so I decided, but I was like seeing all this stuff happen and seeing the audience numbers go up and seeing all the excitement and just what you're saying, like the engagement, like people when they download this podcast, they have to go through a lot of work to do it. They have to sit through and listen. So people are super excited, and I just was thinking there's a business here to be built, and so I made the possibly foolish decision to leave my job and actually go out. I quit my job. I quit my job and I went out and I started trying to raise money to sort of capitalize this company that will become a podcast production company network.
They say, Alex, no risk, no gain. And even though you might have quit your job, you did. It's not like you immediately became dumb. It's like you still have the skills it took to hold that job. So if all things go wrong,
you can go back.
Go back. You're taking a risk to step into the podcast game along with us and a lot of other people. And we salute you.
Well, thank you very much. It's really, you got to go out and you got to talk to investors and everything like that. And I was feeling so bad about myself just because I've never done this before. So I was like, the one thing I know how to do is sort of tell stories on the radio, tell stories in audio. So I started actually documenting the whole thing. So all my investor meetings, I would record them, and I would record the conversations with my wife about whether this is a good idea. And so that was our first, and then I've actually released those as a podcast. So you can sort of follow me creating the podcast company.
He's the first dude to walk through my door. Now, we do the Ice-T Final Level podcast at my apartment over here in New Jersey. And it's funny because he comes walking through the door with a microphone and a recording device. So now he's got a big, long-ass mic, not a little mic.
Yeah, that's TV.
It's a boom.
Yeah, it's a boom mic. Yeah,
boom mic. So he comes through my door, and I'm like, Mickey, now this is my first time meeting Alex, so I'm like, who is this dude? What's going on
with a microphone?
I know. The weird thing is that's what actually makes me feel more comfortable, because I was having that stuff on. At least I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So Alex is recording us. We're recording him. This is going to be interesting. But we got Alex on the podcast today. We always happy when we have guests. We're going to help get his podcast bigger. He's going to help get our podcast bigger, and that's what fly people do. So how we do our podcast. We just talk about shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so feel free to put your opinion in. On any of this bullshit me and Mickey are going to ramble about.
What you just said, I think that's the entire reason I'm starting this company, is that I've seen that happen. Our whole plan when we launch our new shows is to get them on as many other podcasts as possible and go on as many other podcasts and talk about it. Because you see that effect, that network effect as like, what I say is that there's we are at the very beginning here. It's not like you're not stealing audience from anybody else right
Absolutely
now. This whole thing is growing, and we're all collaborators right now.
You can listen to your podcast, my podcast, Combat Jack. You can it's at your free time, man. So people, all that old, that's corny, man. Oh, well, if they like you, they're not going to like me. No, that's not how it goes. Well, we're glad to have. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you been guests on other people's podcasts?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, well, so my my former boss, Ira Glass, who runs This American Life. So that's like massive. It's like millions of people download that and so I launched, that's how and he's really behind this whole effort. You know, I'm leaving, but he's like really happy to see me go. So our first episode of Startup, which is the podcast about me starting my podcast company, that was on This American Life, and that got us numbers.
Started.
Yeah, that got us numbers right away.
We might need to get on This American Life. Mickey, goddammit, they got millions of followers. This episode is brought to you by Mailer's Aggressive Strength Testosterone Booster. They sent Mick and I some samples, and the stuff really works. Mick swears by it. So the way this works, it's unlike hormone replacement therapy or steroids. The Aggressive Strength Testosterone Booster increases your own production of testosterone by helping the brain communicate to the testes, or your balls, okay? It signals greater production of your own testosterone. In addition, Aggressive Strength blocks conversion of testosterone into estrogen and improves mood, focus, and ramps up the sex drive big time. This is also all natural, and that's very important. So go to www.aggressivestrength.com and use the offer code ICE for 10% off. That's aggressivestrength.com, offer code ICE. All right, Final Level Podcast number 18. This is news. So Mick, you know, I'm watching the news, and there's a bunch of bullshit on the news, but my eyes are connected seriously to this ISIS situation, man. I think that's what could be bigger on Earth than potential war?
Nothing, actually. Nothing. I mean, when you have the President of the United States, who's our chief and commander, sitting there thinking about how we're going to resolve this, and the only resolution to this is war. Mm-hmm. It's only war. That's it.
Now, I watched the president's address. You know, love him or hate him, he's the president right now. So this is who you have to deal with. And you know, I happen to love Barack Obama, and that's my business. You know, but he basically said that we're going to try to deal with them from air support.
Yeah, because he don't want to put our men on the ground because ISIS is definitely prepared for ground.
But what they'll do is they'll put special operations forces. You know, they're going to put the SEALs. They'll put, you know, Delta Squad. They'll put all
the special tactics.
Special cats.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there doing what they do. You know, that's not basic troops. When they move troops in, they start moving battalions of boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have people running around creeping, doing what they do to disrupt situations. Then they're going to do it from the air. I mean, Alex, what you think? Have you been watching this ISIS situation?
I mean, I've been like watching the news like everybody else, and it's just sort of, it's one of those things where you feel like, all right, well, if there's anybody you should go to war with, it's these guys, right? Like, there's nobody worse, right? Like, they're cutting people's heads off. Like, there's nothing redeeming about them.
Well,
but then you start looking down.
Being a journalist, you realize the United States has other countries that are getting involved with us.
And a lot of the other, I just read today or saw a news alert today that a lot of the other Arab nations are now coming in, which will help. But I just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad I'm not Barack Obama. That's obviously, I don't know.
Yeah,
what,
I don't know what I mean? Like, you look, man.
Yeah, you look down the road at what's going to happen, and these guys are strong. They got these bases of support all through Syria, and like, how are you going to actually get it taken care of just with air? I don't know.
The world is crazy right now, and you know, these cats are Muslim extremists who basically, if you don't roll exactly the way they rolling, they want to kill you. Right. Straight up. You know,
this is not all Muslims. That's just them.
They're Muslim extremists, and that's the problem. This is the problem with stereotyping and prejudging people as a whole. You know what I'm saying? If a white person does something, everybody says all white people. If a black person does something, it's all black people. If a Muslim does it, it's all Muslims. But it's not.
It's not.
It's not. These are Muslims extremists, and they're way out of pocket.
They're terrorists.
They're the
as far as
straight
I'm concerned.
They're killing their own people.
Yeah.
They're killing. I mean, there's video.
Women, kids, babies.
I saw a video of them just doing drive-bys on motherfuckers. That shit is bananas.
But they also, so the other thing though is that they do that, and then on the other hand, they have this sort of public. They have all this money because they had all this.
Now, Coco asked, where did they get the money?
Well, they took all these cities in that they had all this. They took all these cities in Syria, is my understanding, that had all this oil, and like they got a bunch of banks and stuff like that. So they are one of the most well-funded terrorist organizations there is, just because they got all this stuff. They just like, so up through Syria, they got all these towns in Syria. They got like oil refineries.
Wow.
They're just, I mean, it's old school, just took over stuff.
But they still don't have a navy.
No,
they still don't have an air force.
Yeah, compared to an actual country.
You follow me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's when you run into a country that has an air force, shit's different. It gets heavy. So we have an air force, we have a navy, we've got so much money, but they're well funded. And I just tell everybody out there, just keep an eye on this ISIS situation, this ISIL situation. It's real. And if we thought we were dealing with some stuff in Afghanistan, this is worse.
I know. Well, that's what's so shocking is like you thought Al Qaeda was as bad as it could get, and then these guys come along.
Oh, they say they're going to plant a flag on the White House lawn, and they be popping shit like they're like saying, yeah, get at us, and don't threaten us, send troops. They're on some other shit.
Yeah.
They're on some other shit. So let's just hope that we can do this without losing a lot of American lives, but they have to be addressed. These cats aren't just going to go away.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're not going to go away. Not. Another thing in the news is we lost Joan Rivers.
And that's a sad one. Very funny lady.
Very funny lady.
Very.
And just like Robin Williams, I was fortunate enough to meet Joan Rivers. Actually, my family and her family competed in Family Feud. Yeah.
I remember that episode.
She was a really, really nice lady. And, she told me and Coco straight up, she says, you guys are wonderful and I love you and you'll never hear me say anything bad about you. She said a lot of these celebrities just need to be taken down a notch or two. I mean, she had an OG attitude like, I'm Joan Rivers. I've been around since, the Johnny Carson days.
Exactly.
So you knew Jack. Celebrities, get over yourself. You know what I'm saying?
What puzzled me about it is she went for a routine throat checkup at a clinic. She should have really went to the hospital though.
Well, no, she's doing her thing. Thing of it is she's, what was she, 81? How old was she?
I don't know.
She's an older woman, and anytime you go under anesthesia, it's dangerous. And just. That's neither here nor there. I just think that God bless her. She was somebody who was really nice to me. Mm-hmm. She was nice to my wife. My wife was on her television show a couple of times, Fashion Police, and she'll be missed.
Yeah, and Joan Rivers will be missed. But one thing I do like about that is she definitely worked with her daughter. They were working like hand in hand.
I know.
She made it a real family business.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful.
And she's a G. There's not going to be many female comedians that can match.
She opened the door for all of the female comedians.
It was her back in the day.
And Lucille Ball, maybe.
But as far as the raw, hardcore.
Joan Rivers,
Phyllis Diller.
Oh, Phyllis.
And Moms Mabley.
Oh, Moms Mabley. Yeah, baby.
Those were the raw, hardcore female comedians. They made it okay for a lot of female comedians to say shit that ladies
that they wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Joan.
Joan Rivers, rest in peace.
And that was news. Hey, this is Final Level Podcast number 18. This is sports.
Well, over the weekend, since they're going to hear this on Tuesday, Saturday, there was a fight. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Marco Maidana. Second fight. Yeah. That was a rematch. It was a rematch, right?
So Mickey calls me up right before the fight. So you watching the fight over your house. But as you see, I don't have any furniture in my living room right now because I'm getting it reupholstered because I'm trying to move to my new house. So I told Mickey, he said, you watching the fight? I wrote, what'd I tell you?
I'm going to bed.
No, I said, I'll be watching it in bed, no furniture. My text back was, in bed.
In bed, no furniture.
He hit me back laughing.
So me being, on the internet, because I do a lot of, Facebook and
Well, I had a
Twitter
question for you.
LinkedIn,
How'd you watch that fight?
I went on Facebook and found the fight for free.
And stole the fight. You stole
I found the fight for free. Pay-per-view. Y'all need to stop charging because we're going to watch it any damn way.
He stole the fight.
I saw it on Facebook. Did you see it on Facebook?
No, I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch the fight.
Well, it was free on Facebook.
No, it was stolen on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
It was stolen.
So the thing that I love is that you guys, I listened to what was it, Altucher? James Altucher was on?
Yeah, James Altucher.
And you guys were all lamenting about how like you can't make any money in music anymore because everybody's stealing the content.
He's a hypocrite.
And then, look at that.
I mean, basically, listen.
He's a hypocrite.
Cyberspace gives you free shit.
No, it's not free.
My podcast is free. They listen to Mick Benzo and Ice-T on Final Level Podcast free. This is free. Internet should be free anyway, right? Do you pay for Google or Facebook, man?
Well, it's not a question about what should. It's like, do you charge for your podcast?
No.
Well, then that's what makes it free. Did they charge
they shouldn't
for
be charging it. Look,
they charge for
already got
right?
He's gonna be arrested. You see that little disclaimer they have at the beginning of that thing? Now you just ratted yourself out. You snitched on yourself.
Well, Facebook got to go down because Facebook gave it up
when
for free.
The FBI pop up at your house. Don't call me talking about ICE. The feds is here, man. Don't call me. Nigga, build your own tunnel right now that you might need to escape. Well, anyway, I paid for it. I bought it on DirecTV. Mayweather won again. And, people are always talk about the way Mayweather boxes. Mayweather is extremely fast. And the bottom line is he's the champ, and he's not going to lose till someone beats him down.
That's the bottom line.
You got to beat the champ down.
I remember a quote that Puffy said when he said, man, you don't write rhymes. Puffy said, I don't need to write rhymes, I write checks. Now, people always talking about Mayweather. Oh, he can't read, he can't do. I know he know them numbers. Let's try $100 million on Saturday that he made. $100 million.
Yeah,
and it wasn't no lotto.
And it
won
would have been
$32 million for the fight.
And if you'd have paid for it, it would have been what?
Oh,
$100 million and $70. $100 million and $70. You punk. This nigga's stealing. He's a motherfucker.
I know you stole it from.
I like Mayweather, but Marco bit his finger, man. I think that ain't.
No, but Mayweather was choking him out. Mayweather, how you gonna bite my finger?
What happened? What happened?
Mayweather kind of like, during the clinch, Mayweather put his hand over the man's mouth like, they doing the dirty box and stuff. So homie bit him.
Yeah, well, homeboy, bite him and push him down. They wrestling and
you know what?
Mayweather, good fight.
Mike Tyson.
Keep up the defense. Mikey was there.
Mike Tyson said it best earlier. He said, in the middle of the fight, things are getting dirty like that, and the other guy's going to get mad. But so what? You're in a fight. You should get mad. So if you get mad at me, just hit me.
But also, imagine if, he was beating up on you. Like, Mayweather is, sitting, he's got you in a clinch, one of the most powerful people in the world. Like, you would just have this full-on fight or flight response, probably, right?
That's what happened.
Yeah, it's the bear's coming after you.
It's frustrating. Like Mike Tyson said, it was frustrating when he was fighting, when he had to do what he had to do. I don't want to just keep saying what he did, but when he did it, he was more frustrated than anything because he couldn't hit this motherfucker.
I think this is my point, and whatever my opinion, what I saw, and I had slow motion because I had DirecTV. I didn't have to worry about buffering on Facebook. But I was slow motion it. It looked like, Mayweather was doing some okey doke under the, cupping his glove over my man's mouth and nose, trying to choke him.
Trying to keep him to breathe. That makes him breathe faster.
Yeah, because what kind of screen were you watching on?
I'm watching it over here on a nice,
on a nice
plasma,
big.
plasma.
How many?
Well, I saw it on a 19-inch screen.
Are you zoomed out to full screen, or did you watch it in the window?
I just left it small,
pixelated. But anyway, I think both of them was in the midst of doing something dirty. I think May had his hand over my man's mouth, and my man bit him because he was drowning, and whatever. At the end of the day, it was a good fight, and it's a fight. It's a fight. So people are gonna do all kinds of crazy stuff, and these dudes are not only pros; they pros at dirty fighting. They know how to throw that elbow.
Tapes. That's how they watch the tapes.
They know how to do that elbow shit. They know how to hold you down. They know how to make you beat yourself. So anyway, Mayweather won again, and I'm just wondering one good thing though. At the end, they interviewed him about Pacquiao, and
he said he ain't ducking no fight. Pacquiao got to worry about the fight he got coming up next first and foremost. Don't worry about me right now. Worry about the fight that you have to take care. Then we can discuss that. Mayweather is not ducking anybody. I like Mayweather.
I like him too.
Keep doing what you're doing, baby.
I like him too. He had Warren Buffett there. Chilling in the cut. The real money team. The real money team. Mayweather's over here. He's trying to get to. I think May's trying to make his first B.
Yeah.
He's trying to make his first B. Warren Buffett, he's sitting over there on 50 of them.
50 Bs.
Just
50
chilling.
Bs, not bitches, Bs.
Yeah, big ones. big ones. So it was cool, and sports is sports, and at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's something to entertain us. It's blood sport, and we're in there watching, and I had a good time.
And right
it
now
was
we
worth
have
the money I paid for.
We don't have
Mickey.
any heavyweights to watch anymore right now, so we got to stick to where we at. And guess what? Thanks, Facebook.
And that was sports. Hey, yo, this is Final Level Podcast number 18, and this is TV. Now, I've been watching a lot of television. You know, I come home, I'm Mr. TiVo. I get shit on TiVo. But every once in a while, I start watching the shit my wife watches. Coco's watching this shit right now called Monsters Inside Me. Now, this is like a show about people that get parasites in their head and in their body. And like, you know, like you'll start off with like a mosquito bite, and then it'll grow into a bump, and then like fly larvae will come out of your face.
Oh, that's funky, man. That's why I stick to my TV land and watch McHale's Navy.
Yo, man, I'm talking about sand flies.
That's pretty much the opposite. I think if you get the parasites coming out of your head on one end and then McHale's Navy.
I've been loving my McHale's Navy, man.
TV land. But listen, this show will have you so paranoid you won't go in the woods, you won't go in the sand, you won't go in the dirt, you won't do nothing. And all of it is really based around shit. Like the animals defecate, and another animal eats it, and then it starts to go through this cycle. But if you ever watch this show, it's some of the most disturbing shit on television.
That's just, you know what, that really sounds like flies, because flies love sitting and eating on shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's some shit. It's just
that's crazy.
This
but
thing will have you washing your hands 5 times a day.
Do they show it? They show like the little wound erupting into like maggots and stuff?
Yes, sir. What I try to do, Alex, is I try to give my listeners shows they can go watch and be as weird as me.
Wow.
Check this out. Put it in. It's called Monsters Inside Me. All the ladies out there that listen to the podcast, this show will disturb you. It'll have you getting hand sanitizer. You will be nervous. You'll be worried about dust. It'll make you more worried than you are. And that's one show we've been watching. Then all of a sudden, you know, I'm watching America's Got Talent. And what I realized, Mickey, is I hate the judges. And I don't particularly hate those judges.
Right.
I just hate shows that have judges. Because I don't really know if the judges are valid. I don't want to hear their critique. I don't want to hear the bullshit. Like if I watch The Voice, I'll look at the singers, but I don't care what the celebrities are saying about it. And I think when American Idol first came on, I think the world was very caught into this contest shit.
Yeah, that definitely was. That's what it was. And
I think it's played out.
And everybody started mimicking what American
Idol did with Simon.
And you know, like you said, it gets played out now. I like America's Got Talent, but like you said again, the judges, who is a comedian and who is a talk show host to tell you what's really good and what's really bad.
Right.
Yeah. You're a talk show host, you're a comedian. Then there's 2 singers that are sitting there, but it's not all about singing on America's Got Talent.
Another singer and a model.
You know, so.
But I remember in the beginning, though, when they first came out, like that was what was sort of exciting about it, was you'd see these people and then you get to hear the expert opinion. And it felt like an expert opinion, and that was what was exciting. It was like, oh, what are the experts going to say about this? And you would learn some stuff, and you learn how they think about it. You know, I don't remember. Yeah, but now if they're not actual experts,
thank God for TiVo. TiVo allows you or you everybody. When I say TiVo, they go, I don't have TiVo, I have DVR. When I say fucking TiVo, I mean a DVR machine. Okay, God damn,
it's clean.
Fast forward.
It's Kleenex, people. It's just
it's clean. Thank you, Alex. It's fast forward. That's the best invention they've ever put out, because you can just zip through shit. And I'm watching stuff and I just bam, I get to what I want and I care about.
When he wants.
And have you ever tried to like fast forward a person, like you're dealing with somebody in real life?
Can't
and you
do
wish
it.
You could
Can't do it. You can't do it unless you're my favorite Martian. You can't do it.
But they show that on TV Land also.
Hey, stop. Stop.
So when I watch this type of show, I only watch the acts because I'm the judge. I watch it And when they're finished, I don't care what the so-called experts say. I don't want to hear their theory.
I do the same thing.
And then I just watch. I go from the juggler to the dog act to the balancing guy to the singer, and then I just fast forward.
Exactly. Not interested in your comments. We're not interested in your comments. They are up there
doing their
showing
best.
what they can do. Now, if you can do better, come off your judging seat, go up there and out-sing them.
Yeah, which is difficult. You know, and also, when you watch these shows, you see how many millions and millions of people are trying, and then they get to the last 5 or 6 people, and maybe 2 of them are talented. And I'm like, you went through 1 million people, and you got the 2 people that are it's rough out there.
Well, basically, it's giving some of those people a platform, too, because we're actually watching them on that station for 3 to 4 weeks. And we remember their names, and someone says they like what they see outside of what the judges are saying, and some of those people go on and get good jobs anyway.
You know when you are on American Idol, when you win, you're signed to American Idol.
Yeah, no question.
They sign you. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No,
they own you.
All of the reality shows get you to sign a contract, and then if they don't sign you, you can't. They get the right of refusal if someone else wants to sign you, even if you lose. You got to go to them and say, well, you know, Alex wants to sign me. Well, how much is Alex? Well, we got to get cut in, or we'll sign you.
So they're claiming they made you a star.
Yeah, right. Well, there's something to that, right?
Something. But not everything to it, you know. It's like, you know, but see, the thing of it is, when you go on those shows, you're so desperate, you'll sign anything,
right?
And then, you know, you go off and you become a star. So those shows aren't only just shows; they're actually record labels, so to speak. You know, they're gonna own the winner. Whatever. Watch the shows if you like. I say fast forward through the judging, and you do the judging. That's just my opinion, and that was TV. Yo, this is Final Level Podcast number 18. This is movies. I just went and saw a cool movie called Sin City.
Sin City.
And it's the part 2. It's based on Frank Miller's comics, and it's a cool kind of effect they do where it's like they're inside of a comic book, but they're real people. Mickey Rourke got a big ass face. Like prosthetics, and it's just
Hey, watch that! Don't say, because remember you was in Tank Girl, so stop.
Exactly. So but I'm into that kind of stuff.
Right.
You into that kind of stuff?
Right. Oh yeah, I don't do anything now because I got 2 small kids, so I never see anything. I don't.
You gotta go to the movies. Get out a little.
Believe me.
Live life, man.
Yeah,
Live life.
I know it. But no, I was huge into comics when I was a kid. I read all those.
You
all
saw
the
Tank Girl
Marvel.
at Ice Cream,
Yeah, I
right?
did. I actually did.
With
yeah.
Lori Petty.
Yeah.
I was a ripper. But
I was paying more attention to Lori.
He thought
Petty.
Hopefully you were,
I thought he
Alex.
said he was going to be a stripper.
That's what I thought.
A stripper? He said no, there was a ripper, not a stripper. Now you can hear that on the Comeback Jack show. Leave that for Comeback Jack
Y'all
show.
hear me eating these Cheetos? Mickey brought me some Cheetos. And I'm eating these Cheetos because once you eat one of these motherfuckers, you really can't stop. They're crazy. I ate my bag and some of Mickey's bag. But anyway.
So Sin City.
Sin City Part 2, and my dude Chris Maloney is in it.
Chris Maloney used to play on Law & Order.
Yes, sir. Chris is in it. He plays a detective.
I thought he was doing TV.
Chris is living his life. Chris is living his life. And, you know, when he left Law & Order, you know, of course, our fans were heartbroken. You know, he's a great actor. But Chris, you know, I knew Chris. I know Chris personally. And Chris had things he wanted to do. You know, like you left your job. You know, sometimes you say, this is a great job, but I want to direct. I want to act in movies. I want to do other things. You know, he given Law and Order 12 solid years.
That was
God
cool.
bless him. So when I saw him on the big screen, he already been in Superman. He was already in the movie 42. But when I saw him, I wasn't expected to see him. And he did really good.
Chris Maloney.
What does he play in that?
He plays a detective that gets caught up in this girl, this chick who's like the bad guy seductress chick. He gets open for her. She turns him out. Next thing you know, he kills his part. I don't want to give it up.
Right.
But some crazy shit happens, you know. And
that's what's wrong when y'all go see movies. Y'all want to tell people about the goddamn ending. Can we go see Sin City?
go see Sin City. Chris Maloney is in it. And it was a really good movie. It's one of those kind of, it's a comic book, but it feels, it's the way they did it. Robert Rodriguez did it, my guy. And the way it's shot, it's very unique. If you haven't seen the first Sin City, just go on the internet and look at the trailer. I don't get any money for these plugs. These are just personal things I like. And of course, I'm going to promote something that my man Chris is in.
Oh, yeah.
Sin City Part 2, Mickey Rourke. It's good. It's nice and violent, the way I like my movies.
Go see it. Sin City.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
Podcast number what, Mickey?
18, baby. Number 18.
And this segment is called SVU, Behind the Scenes. Okay, so we haven't been talking about SVU for a while because everybody knows, if you follow me on Twitter or watching what I'm doing in the news, that I was on tour all summer doing my Body Count band, out with, Mayhem, out with Cannibal Corpse and Suicide Silence and all that. But now we're back on the set shooting Law & Order. We've been shooting for about 2 weeks now. We've got about 4 episodes in the can, and our season premiere is September 24th. And we're back going strong, season 16, Mickey.
You've been on 16 seasons you've been on?
Now, I have been on, officially I can claim 16 seasons, Alex, because I came on the last episode of the first season. So I get that first season, action.
That's beautiful.
Count it.
So the season premiere actually starts September
24th. But people have been asking me, of course, what's going on. And, when you're on a show like this, they only want to let so many things go, so much information go. So I'll give you a light outline of what the new season is about, because this is behind the scenes of SVU. We have a new detective in the squad room. Okay, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say, his. I'm just saying these are some of the things to look forward to.
Can I ask you a question about
Yes.
that? What do they get? Do they get specific? Is it like in the contract, like you're allowed to say we have a new detective, but you're not allowed to say? How do you know what to say and what not to say?
You know what? They tell us to use our best judgment. The show itself asks us, to refrain from giving away too much on social media. But then they like us on social media.
Right.
So it's kind of like I just use my best judgment on what I should say.
You ever get
You don't,
rung up?
you don't really give away much of the episode. You feed them that they should tune
I
in.
want you to tune in.
Yeah.
Tune in.
So we have a new detective in the squad room. Word is they told him he was only going to be here for 4 episodes, but they told me that, and it's been 15 years.
It can happen.
We have a new captain of all of SVU for the entire city, who's going to come in and pretty much take over Mariska's part as sergeant. So now there will be a new captain, kind of like in our office.
Okay.
And he's a well-known actor.
Okay,
that people are going to look forward to.
So y'all dressing the show up a little better this year too. Then that's what's happening.
This last season was kind of based on all the stuff that happened to us, all of us going through different trauma.
You didn't go through any though.
Nah, because I mind my own motherfucking business. You know what I'm saying? Spin don't get it and all that shit. I ain't all sensitive and all that shit. I don't care. I just want to solve the crime.
You may get a breakdown this year. They got to get you a breakdown this year.
Nah, I ain't
It's got to be written down somewhere in there, man. Come on, man. They can't just keep you being a sane one and everybody got in trouble
You know what,
last
Mickey?
year.
As it happens, the way the show is done, we don't really know what we're going to do.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I just look in the script and hope I didn't get shot. And if I do get shot, I turn the pages real fine out to see if I bled out. I just want to make sure, this is a job.
You
first.
take a flush
Wait,
room.
that's how you find out you're off the show. That it's
You
in the
take a
script?
flush room. If he dies, that means he ain't in the show.
Yeah,
he
it's
said, I'll
cold.
take a flush room.
It's
Wow,
cold, man.
man. They don't
They'll
even
kill
call
your
you
ass
first?
off, man. They'll kill your ass off. So fortunately, my fans still like me. They have a thing called a Q rating. They can tell whether you're still popular. But this year the show is more back to how do you say it? More back to victims. It's more, show by show about different topics and stuff. It's not really based on us as much. Dick Wolf never was much into so many backstories and things of that nature, so they're going to move forward with some more crazy shit happening in the world. And this show is all based on things that do happen and it's very disturbing and it's weird. But all I can tell you is we're going to come out with a bang. You know, the first show starts with Danny in trouble because Danny kind of jumped a guy who he thought was a pedophile, or who really was a pedophile, and Danny saw him in front of a school playground and, you know, went in on him. But all these things that are happening out now in the streets and all these things that are going on with the police, oh look, you hear police sirens? Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers is listening to the show.
They're coming in now.
Our writers will address them throughout the season, but we kind of do it the way SVU does it. But
so like Ferguson and stuff is going to show up.
They'll address maybe not Ferguson, but they'll address police abuse or police stepping over the boundaries. You know, it's not like we haven't. You know, if you watch us, we're kind of like brutal cops at times too. But people let us go because we're beating up rapists and child molesters.
Right.
But they will address it. They're not afraid to address current topics.
Cool.
That's
cool.
Real way.
That's really cool.
SVU, welcome back, baby. Let's go. Let's go. NBC.
And we're looking for season 17. You know, everybody knows I want to go 20. 20 is the world record for episodic drama. Held by, I think, Gunsmoke.
Matt Dillon,
Man, you guys
baby.
are knocking on the door, though, aren't you?
Close. We're 16. The original Law and Order made it to 19 and got canceled. Some say that was personal, you know. But we would love to stay on the air. I mean, working with all the wonderful people, you know, after coming home from vacation, everybody's got tans. You know, I'm seeing Mariska, I'm seeing Danny and Kelly. Everybody's just happy just to be back gigging again. And that was behind the scenes of SVU. This is the Final Level Podcast number 18, and this is games. You know what, right now, as far as games go, I'm kind of like in this limbo between games. You know, I had my problems getting my Xbox 360 to turn into the new Xbox One. Then I had the HDMI problem. Now I'm finally got both machines going. I got my 360 going and my Xbox One. Now everybody, get a PS3. I'm like, I got too many motherfucking consoles. And the reason I got the Xbox, I say it one more time, is because I was in Gears of War and all these other video games, and those happen to be Xbox games, and Xbox decided to give me a bunch of free consoles. So if I'm getting a bunch of free shit, why would I go buy another one? So that's my you console motherfuckers that are out there that is PS3 and fuck off. You know, I mean, if you play PS3, that's your thing. If that's your shit, that's your shit. I play Xbox. I think the ultimate day will be the day when we can cross-platform on the internet, when Xbox people will be able to play against the PS3 people on the internet. That would be war. That would be true internet war. But right now, I'm kind of caught out there. I don't have a new game. You know, I played my Call of Duty to death. I got finished playing Watch Dogs. You know, I'm cool with that. So I'm looking for the next game. People are saying buy Destiny. Now, Destiny is this new game. Alex, our business partner, not this Alex, but Alex, our business partner, he tell me
Paragon Collective, Alex.
Yeah, Paragon. Get Destiny. But then I don't know if I trust his judgment, because he plays.
No, he's pretty good at games too, man.
But he plays RPGs. RPGs are role-playing games, and they play slow. You gotta talk and shit. I want to kill. I don't
kill.
You're like the first-person shooter. That's your thing.
Fast and furious. Get it going.
Kill.
Or I play the shit that's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but still, I don't really want to talk. And you get this scroll down where you have to pick the different answers and all that. That drives me bananas. So he said to play Destiny. Now, Destiny was done by the people that made Halo. And I have never really played Halo. So I'm kind of pausing. So you know what I did? I went and got my old Payday 2, which
we
is the
played
one
the
where they
game?
rob banks. Where this is the best game I think have ever been invented. I wish they would just take this game and really put some money into it. It's a game called Payday, where you rob banks, you rob jewelry stores. Wonder why Ice-T likes it. The cops attack. You set up all these barricades so the cops can't get to you, and you steal.
Basically, you just do some stealing.
It's kind of like, I mean, I don't know.
See the games he play, Alex, right?
But-
Are the ones that Fast and Furious. I play shit like Flappy Bird, trying to jump over shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I see.
I don't know if I should feel guilty for loving Payday. I mean, it's a flashback game. I mean, it's the way I don't go to jail playing this game. But
It's safe and it's in your home, in the comfort of your home.
Right.
the cool thing about the game, though, this game, is that you play with 4 other players on the internet. Now, these guys, the guy who owns the game, like the leader that owns this particular room or the leader of this clique, if you fuck up, he can kick you out of the game. Like if you're running slow, or you
boot you out,
or you throw the money bag the wrong way.
So you're all part of the same. You're all trying to rob the jewelry store together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's
you
not
say
like
he
one
can
guy's a
86
jewelry
you
store
out the
owner.
game.
But I can kick you out of the game.
Right. Okay.
So I can boot you out. And that shit'll make you mad as a motherfucker. It'll make you mad. Now, I don't get kicked out because I'm pretty strong, but when I first started playing the game, it was difficult, because they would like noob and boom, and they like turn around. It's the equivalent of being in the middle of a real robbery and your boy turn around and shooting you.
And taking all the money and run.
Yeah. But
So that's Payday.
yeah, Payday 2.
So but they don't update it or something like that. What's the problem
Payday
with it?
2 is kind of like a mid-level game. It's not one of the big expensive franchises that made it. And it's cool, but you have to play it online, and it's kind of a cult game. It's kind of a cult game. There's some cult games out there that only weird people play. This is a cult game. It's strictly it's nothing positive about the Payday 2 game. And but I'm waiting, I'm waiting on the new Call of Duty. So my clan will be back organized, SMG, Sex, Money, and Guns. We will be back organized. All of us have the correct consoles. And when the new game comes out, I think it comes out in November, that's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, we will be on there taking names and kicking ass again. And that was games. Everybody knows I love my dogs, Spartacus and Maximus. A lot of you listeners already know all about them, as well as how important they are to me and Coco. They came on the Mayhem tour with us. They toured the world with Coco, and that is a huge part of our family and our lives. That's why I supplement their dog food with Petimmune. Petimmune makes natural probiotic supplements for cats and dogs that helps prevent your pet from getting digestive disorders, itching and scratching, and excessive shedding. Petimmune also promotes and helps your pet's digestive health, immunity, overall health, healthy weaning, as well as skin and coat health. Essentially, Petimmune makes sure your beloved pets have enough intake of the important nutrients necessary to keep them healthy. Go to PettimmuneOnline.com and use the offer code ICE for 10% off. That's PettimmuneOnline.com. Offer code ICE. Please support them, since they're supporting us and our pets. Okay, Final Level Podcast. We are very honored today to have our special guest, Alex Bloomberg. And, he comes walking through my door with a microphone, headsets, and some recording device. And, I look at him and he looks at me. Mickey said, "This is our interview." And I'm like, "Who?" He says, "Alex Bloomberg." I'm like, "Is this the mayor's son? Who the fuck is coming in my house?" And, really quickly, he said, I work with NPR, and I've done a lot of great interviews on NPR. So we're happy to have you. But, Mickey, let's make our listeners more familiar with Alex Bloomberg.
Well, Alex Bloomberg came, like you said, from NPR. He was also a producer of American Life, and he hosted Planet Money.
Planet Money, yep.
That was another podcast, correct?
Yeah.
At that point, you decided that you didn't want to work for nobody no more.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I did. I mean, I like the paycheck of working for somebody, but I felt like there was this opportunity to go to start my own company. So that's what I did. I quit, and
so
I've been in the middle
like
of doing
storytelling, and you were a journalist. That's the kind of podcast you have.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I mean, this thing that I brought in here. This is sort of what I used to do my job. I go out.
Lightsaber.
Yeah, exactly. So I go out and I'm sort of like I'm a journalist, and I tell my stories through audio. And it's a lot of narrative stuff, and so and with Planet Money, it was mainly like money, finance, economics, that sort of stuff. And at This American Life, which is the other show I worked at, it can be anything.
So you saying at one point you met a person that had a podcast and built the Twitter system?
So what I was doing. So what I've been doing. So I started my company, and I need to raise money to start it, right? I need to capitalize it. So I've been going out and talking to all these investors about starting this. I feel like there's this big opportunity. I want to raise some money to start this company in podcasting, and so one of the guys I met, one of the people that I approached about investing was this guy that I'd talked to from my past doing this other story. And I didn't really know that much about him. I knew he was rich. I knew he lived in Silicon Valley.
Angel investor?
Yeah, he's an angel investor out there. But it turns out, actually, as I was talking to people about who I'm meeting, he's like huge. He's like a huge deal investor.
Can you say his name?
His name's Chris Sacca. Yeah, Chris Sacca. And he was,
Mickey, hold up. You can't say everybody's name, especially people with money. You know, sometimes people don't want their names known.
Well, that's why he's on so basically, he's on my podcast now. Because I recorded myself pitching.
Just check it. Just check it.
Yeah, no, but it's true sometimes. But and basically so I started recording this process of raising money and going through this sort of entrepreneurial journey, and I put the first podcast out there, sort of like this, the pilot. And basically what it is it's me going out and pitching Chris Sacca and getting my ass handed to me. Like he's like, well, you got to work on your pitch. You're doing it bad, and like he made me, and I'm like recording the whole thing, and it was very embarrassing. It's like it's like sort of a embarrassing, vulnerable moment. But I figured I can't be the first person trying to start a company feeling this way, right? Like this has to happen to everybody who's trying to do something like this.
Well, whenever you're asking for money, you're in a very compromised position,
Yeah.
Whenever
whenever you're asking for anything.
Yeah. So it doesn't always go well.
No, and it's like, and it's a tricky thing because you have to feel like the position you have to be in is sort of like, I'm doing you a favor. I'm letting you in.
But that's sketchy.
Thing.
That's sketchy though.
Yeah, because you can't come that way. You can't actually say,
you can't tell him you're doing him a favor. You got the money.
It's a subtle thing.
He got the money. You're doing me a favor. You need my money.
Get out.
Yeah, exactly. But I know. So it's like a seduction or something. You know what I mean? They have to feel like
you got to court it.
Yeah. And I came all wrong. I was all like embarrassed and like sort of like I thought I knew what I was talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about, and so it was just sort of like, and it's all there. I like recorded the whole thing, so it's all happened sort of on tape. So I put that out as the first episode, sort of like edited together.
When people come to me and I'm nowhere near this guy Chris, I got a few dollars saved up, and that's money I've saved, and that's
my money,
and that's important to me. Suppose everything goes wrong, I might not have any money. So when whatever I got, I'm very protective of that. So now you come and talk about you want half of it for your idea, and I'm like, you crazy. My thing is, when I deal with people, I always say, well, look, is this a charity or is this a business? If it's a charity, then that means I don't expect to make any money back. So you just want me to give this to you to give away. And I've given money to charity, but if it's business, I want to make some money. So your job is to prove to me how this is going to make me some money. It's your great idea. How's it going to make me some money? Those are the two options, because and then also, is the number you're going to hit me with gonna affect my life? You can have a long pitch, and at the end of the day, and saying at the end ice we'll make $10,000,
right?
And I'll go,
that's no money.
That's not going to change my life, and it's not worth the time I have to invest into this.
Right. Well, and the people that I'm pitching, or at least I started pitching, like the people like Chris Sacca, what their whole thing is his they're like, I'm going to invest, 1,500, 100,000 here, 100,000 there, 50,000 here. And they're probably expecting most of it's not going to come back at all. But when it does hit, it's going to hit huge. Like, they're not interested in sort of like, this is going to be a nice profitable business down the road. It'll like grow steadily and slowly. They're interested in like a Twitter or or like a Uber or something like,
something
Facebook.
huge.
Right. And so if you make enough bets on what's going to be the next Twitter, next Facebook.
Now, let me follow it. See, because I'm learning now. This is money talks.
You're at Planet Money.
I'm on Planet Money right now with him.
You're always on Planet Money. Right.
I got
and
it.
like and so this guy Chris, who I was pitching, he told me his story while we were talking. He told me his story and what he'd started. His friend of his, he used to work at Google. His friend of his at Google came to him and said, I'm starting this thing. I need 25,000. He started playing around with it. His friend was Evan Williams, and the company he was starting was Twitter. So he invested 25,000 in Twitter, and then kept on, throwing in some more money, raised a bunch of other money from other people, tried to invest it, and so he just, that was a huge hit for him. Yeah, and he has a couple more. He had like Uber, Kickstarter. What was the other one? Oh, Instagram. So he's been in,
But see, also, it's interesting that his initial investment was $25K.
Yeah.
You
would have thought it was more, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People come to me asking for 5 times that much to start their bullshit company.
Well, Alex did. Alex over here, Alex Bloomberg came on and asked for $1.5 million.
Well, I wasn't asking all from him. That was like.
He said, I gave 25,000 to Twitter. Now you asking me for 1.5. Oh, you probably got thrown the fuck out.
But I mean, if I'm honest, I had that same mentality, which is sort of like, I don't have any money. You have so much money that this doesn't really matter to you. So why don't you just give it to me? And that's the wrong. Absolutely,
that's a bad mistake.
That's a bad attitude.
That's
right.
his
Absolutely.
money, though.
Yeah,
that's his money.
You can't think that way at all. And so, but that's. I mean, now I've like sort of.
No, that's how people think.
Yeah.
Like one of my good friends, Dr. Dre, just hit. Dre got $1 billion. So everybody counts off how easy it would be for him to give them $1 million. They're like,
you start doing the math in your head, like $1 million to you,
and then you're mad at him if you don't give it to you.
He could throw $1 million.
Yeah.
He wouldn't miss it. No, that's his money. His money.
But Twitter was a podcast at first, you said?
Oh, so Twitter, originally, the guys who were building Twitter, they were originally trying to build a podcasting platform. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was called Odeo, O-D-E-O. Yeah. And that was original their thing, and then for one reason or another it didn't work, but they developed this other technology alongside of it, and then that became Twitter.
You know what's so cold about these companies though? I don't care whether it's Twitter, or whether it's Google, or whether it's
Instagram,
back in the day, MySpace. You cannot find anybody that runs that shit. Like,
how do you find the people that run this
if you
shit?
have a problem with Twitter, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe
no customer
since we know
Customer service.
Maybe since
I know,
we know
I had
Alex, we can get in there.
No, I don't think I could get. Well, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I know that's absolutely the case. Like with Google too. Like you
like
have a problem
phantom.
with your Gmail, and like. Who do I
you
call?
talk to?
You're like, there's all these forums you can go in, and you're like, well, I gotta talk to a person. There's nobody to talk to.
How gangster is that though? Listen to me. I'm gonna run a business. Y'all gonna use. I'm gonna bill you. I'm gonna break you. I'm gonna take you. But who runs it? You can never find me. You can never talk to me.
Well,
you
we don't
can't-
charge you for Twitter. We don't charge you for Gmail.
But say, for
they
instance,
do charge in Gmail if you use a lot of space.
Tomorrow, your Twitter page disappears.
Who do you contact?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody.
You build another one.
That's a cold game they running.
Wow.
They're cold. If your Facebook just crashes tomorrow,
Build another one.
it's cold. They are
Lose
cold.
everything you got there. Now that is kind of crazy.
It's
because
gangster.
I guess because it's a free platform for you.
Yeah, and then
They don't
once
owe you anything.
But also, I
Right.
mean, like, I guess you got so many. I mean, how many people use Twitter right now, right? Like, how could you even set up a customer service for all those
Well, it
people,
should
right?
be somebody to make a response versus
yeah.
a
There
generated
are
Well, do we
email.
actually wait? Do we know this though? Because I come from NPR. Do we have our facts straight here? I gotta fact check this.
There
We do
are
this conversation.
There's
nobody to call it Twitter. Have you tried?
There's no.
No,
yes,
no,
we
no, wait a
tried.
minute, Mickey. There are secret people that have connections
Yeah.
in the game, but you got to meet them like in the back of a restaurant in the dark. I swear to God. I'll give you a good example. One of my boys called up. He says, "Do you and Coco have your real name on Instagram?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I was Ice somebody else, and Coco was Coco's World. He says, I can get you your real name on Instagram. I mean, what do you mean? I put you as Ice-T and you as Coco. I said, there's 25 Cocos up already. He says, don't worry about that.
I'll make them go away.
I'll make them go away. It was like an assassination. So I'm like, there's already people with my name, but that's your name.
Wait, if you take him up on that, you gotta let me record what happens.
Listen, no, it already happened.
Oh, it's done. Did it?
It already happened.
What did he do? Oh, this happened?
He said, would you like that? This is a friend of mine. And I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. Day later, 2 days later, our pages magically turned to Ice-T and Coco. That was all that was said.
Wait, and it didn't cost any money?
This was the connection. This is what I'm saying. There are people. See, you got to think, trading. Alex, somebody has to work at Twitter.
Right. Of course.
If you happen to meet those secret people in the shadows, they can make people go away. They can make things happen. It's a click to them. The trick is meeting those people. And even like right now, people are, I want to get a check by my name. There's a secret society
on the Twitter just to get an authentic.
To get authenticated.
You can't find them neither.
Yeah,
it's a secret thing. People write me, how do I get authenticated? I'm like, I don't know. My blue check just came. People are killed for those blue checks. But I'm like, I don't know. It's a secret. But those people will never show their faces of the mystery of the internet. But keep on talking. We got sidetracked.
So that was the point of that. So the first 2 episodes are up, and it's just me, trying to figure out how to start a company. And what's been amazing about it is sort of since we put those episodes up, like everybody, the response has been huge. I mean, talk about Twitter.
Can you kickstart your company?
We did a Kickstarter project,
slow.
But it's like, no, it's not too slow. It's just sort of like, what exactly, I feel like a Kickstarter is great if you have an actual sort of project that you're going to do, but I'm starting like a company. It feels like you need
1.5 million.
Raise some capital.
So you can sit around in your crib and figure out what you want to do.
No, I have ideas.
He says he has other.
We have 3 shows in development. We got it all happening.
3 shows in the can. Where you getting your audience from?
So the audience that was the thing that we were at Summit Planet Money, which we started 5 years ago, and that came after the wake of the financial crisis. So basically what happened was I did this story on This American Life, which had started before the financial crisis happened, where I was just looking around and everybody I knew was getting these massive loans, huge mortgages, all this credit card, debt. And I was thinking to myself, like, how are you going to pay that back? Like, nobody I knew was going to be able to pay it back. They all had these massive loans. Nobody was going to be able to pay it back. I was like, why is the bank giving all these people these loans? So I started looking into it, reporting, et cetera. Did this big story, and then it sort of hit right as the financial crisis hit, and it was sort of the answer. Like, so I found out about the whole mortgage security.
I got a show for your channel that would be great. It would be like the financial world for dummies.
Well, that's sort of what it ended up being. So we did and then all of a sudden I knew all this stuff about how finance worked, and then everybody in the world was interested in how finance worked because it was directly affecting their lives. So that's how we started Planet Money, and it became this pretty big show right away.
The reason being why I say for dummies is that, a lot of times when you deal in the financial world, it's done in financial jargon, and most people can't really grip it. They can't understand it, where they're saying, subsidize this and that, whoop-de-whoop, and,
well, even a stock
subprime and this, that, and doing a show where you're like, look, I'm going to break this down.
Right. And not use jargon. Well, that was
what Alex is saying. Could that actually happen to the industry where they were giving home loans to people who really could not afford $1 million home loan?
And I did this interview one time with this guy. It was one of the best interviews I ever did. It was a guy who got one of those loans. He made $45,000 a year, and he'd gotten a $540,000 loan. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, they just handed me these papers. The papers were flying all over. And I was like, would you have given you that loan? He was like, no, I wouldn't have given myself that loan. Nobody I know would have given me that loan, and I have no idea why the bank did it. And that was the question we were trying to answer: is why did the bank do it? Yeah. And it was just this. It was a frenzy. You start going up, then you follow the chain up, and it goes to Wall
I need
Street.
To listen to that. Yeah. I need to listen to the show because the thing of it is that I have financial advisors and stuff, and people trying to talk to me. But you got to understand that if you don't grow up in the financial world,
You don't know.
You don't understand the jargon.
I mean, I didn't understand it. You know, and I didn't. That was the whole point. But
Damn it, I didn't understand. They gave me $1 million, man. They gave me $1 million loan to get a house. Here's a piece of paper, and it says you can spend up to $1 million.
And they're trying to talk you up, right?
You take this with you, and you show it to any realtor you want. If they don't believe it, then walk away. You have $1 million.
I know it.
So I gave it to them. One person looked at it, and they're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, this is only a $600,000. You know what? I don't even want this house. And then I went and I found me one that was $950,000. I said, here's my paperwork. And guess what? It closed.
I know. And they were and like this thing was happening that had never happened, where people they're arguing you up. It used to be you had to like, no, can I have 500,000? And be like, no, we'll give you 400,000. And then in that like really frenzied time, people would show up and they'd be like, you want 400? How about 500? How about 600? You know, they're arguing you up.
They want you to take more money.
They wanted you to take more money. It was this crazy. Yeah.
They want to put you in debt, knowing that you can't pay.
Well, they're gonna get bigger commission.
They're gonna get their commission.
No, hold up, Mickey. Let him talk because we don't know.
Well, so the answer that we found was sort of like it all went. It was this. It was actually this weird global story. There was all this money that had been like all these other countries had gotten rich, and they needed something to invest in. Like all these Arab states have gotten rich, and the world is just generally getting richer. There's like lots and lots of money out there now, and it all needs something to invest in. And somehow American mortgages became the thing to invest in. And so there's all this money that wants more mortgages. They want this thing to buy. It's like, you know, it's like if there's a hot stock, you want that stock, right?
Because they buy the loan and the loan pays off more than the loan
pays off, right? And so that filters down to all of us out here, where people are like just trying to get as many mortgages as they could so they could sell them up the chain. So that was the thing that happened. It was this we call it this giant pool of money. It was like trying to get as many mortgages as it could. It was crazy. It was a crazy thing.
You know, it's fun. The thing with it is, Alex, you know, I have an attorney.
Yeah.
The reason I hired my attorney is because he has the ability to break contracts down to what I understand.
Absolutely.
I didn't go to law school. I am not an attorney. I don't know. I can't look at that paper and understand it. It's written in legal jargon.
Right.
So my attorney can break it down to where I understand. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm dumb. It just means that I need someone to help me with this. You know, it's just, this is what it is. This is why you hire him. And he's been my attorney for years, and I've always made money. He would always say, this is what it means, Ice. And if you do this, this could happen. And that's what I need. I don't need a 20-page paperwork. I need someone to tell me. Well, in finance, in the financial world, I think the whole world needs help understanding finance. People
don't know, and because I didn't know, and I had to sort of teach myself, I became good at explaining it to people, because I was like, this was my process. I didn't understand what this word meant before, and then I figured it out.
I also think people are embarrassed to say they don't understand it.
And that's the thing. And also, I think that a lot of the financial world doesn't really want you to understand it.
I believe that.
You know, because I think that because a lot of it is BS. You know what I mean? Like there's like, if you look at a lot of the theories about investing, if you're just a regular person and you don't run a hedge fund and you don't have some sort of inside edge, you shouldn't be trying to beat the market. Like, you have no angle. If you're just like a regular person out there, you should just be like sticking it somewhere.
I always tell people that I know about the word invest, and there's many people who got wealthy investing as went broke investing. You need a good investment, not just the term invest. So people say, oh, well, Ice-T, you're on TV. Are you investing? I'm like, I'm cautious with my investments. You know, I invested a lot of money in real estate and it went bottom up.
Right.
Well, I bought a house in Miami for $1.5 million. And when that shit crashed, I couldn't sell it for $700,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my loan, right? When you buy something for $1.5 million, you probably put $300,000 down or somewhere around that number. So you still owe like 1.2. So therefore, your loan, you owe
the bank, the loans.
1.2, and the thing's only worth 7.
Right.
You still owe.
So
it's 500.
You're losing your fucking ass in this situation. This is a guaranteed investment. Okay, this condo we're sitting in right now, I paid for it. It's not worth a dime more than when I moved in it 10 years ago, because it was inflated. The price that I bought it for was more than it was worth, because they were just popping numbers up at that time. Everything was sucking over the top. So this whole financial crisis, and what happens is when people go, oh, well, it hit people with money. I'm like, well, the people with money are the people that loan the people that don't have money. So when I'm fucked up, I can't help nobody because I'm fucked up. So it's a trickle down effect. Money just gets tight everywhere. And back in the day when you say, hey man, I got an idea, Ice, let's go in. I'm like, shit's tight right now, and you might see all the physical things, but I'm sitting there saying, damn man, I lost $1 million this year, $1 million that I thought I was going to make. It's gone.
Yeah. And it was there on paper. Like you think it's there on paper. And that's what's so catastrophic about real estate in particular, because everybody feels that way. Like that's real estate, it does. It goes up and up and up and up and up. And then like when it crashes, it's like a hammer coming down, right? Like nobody, that's what happened. And Japan has, like that happened in Japan in the 80s. And they've like basically still never fully recovered. They're still basically right where they were.
And I told this story to somebody. I said, my this little condo story. I got real estate in other places, but this was a condo story. And I tell it because it's easy for people to understand, simple numbers, And I called my guy who sold me it, and he says, you put 3 in, it's going to go up to 2. You see what I'm saying? And then when you sell it, you're going to walk with 8. Right?
Good numbers.
Good numbers. I said, yo, man, I'm losing my shirt right now. This company says, Ice, I lost $48 million.
Oh, I can't talk to you right now. He said $48 million.
40, because he's the developer and he's lost all these buildings. Yeah. Now these buildings that he thought people were going to move in for 1.2, 1.5.
They're moving in 7.
They're all down.
Right.
So I just had to hang the phone up, and everybody got hurt. The only way it didn't hit you is if you were flat broke. And if you were flat broke, you realize the people that used to be able to loan you $5 ain't got it no more. So it didn't hurt them like that. It didn't hurt them like that. But, hey,
$48 million.
Well, then there's
the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
But then there's a lot of people who are still like living in houses where they've been in foreclosure. They haven't been making the payments, but because the system was so messed up and it was like so frenzied, nobody had the paperwork right. And so there's all these buildings out there where nobody knows who actually owns the title to the house. And so you can't sell it, you can't get rid of it. So there's people who can just are living rent free basically.
You know what, Mickey? You should see this movie called The Queen of Versailles.
Oh yeah.
You saw that?
I gotta see it. I've heard
it's a movie really about a guy who built this big, he's basically building the biggest house in the United States, and he was a timeshare mogul, and he lost his big hotel in Vegas because the whole thing crashed, and it just shows them going through it. Like, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Now these people were spending a lot of money that you can't really feel sorry for them, but you can actually see that this can happen to billionaires. Like, I'm talking about like he's getting wiped out during this recession.
Well, the more income you have, the more expenses you have, right? Like you got like, and if you can't pay, you can't pay it, no matter
no matter how much you have, you can't pay it. You can't pay it. You got jets and boats and
overhead. Overhead.
So that's sort of the background of what I've been doing, and now so I know all about that, and now I'm actually going out and trying to convince people to make an even riskier investment, empirically in my company. You know what I mean?
So you want $25,000 from the Final Level podcast. Me and Mickey are venture capitalists.
No, this is a trick. I don't know if we have room for you guys right now.
I love it. That's the trick. That's a hedge fund trick. I don't know where you get you in. But how is that going to make us some money if we invest?
So this is the theory, right?
I love it. I don't know if I can get you in.
Go ahead. So there's huge growth right now in digital, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're saying, so when I'm at This American Life, I'm at Planet Money, I'm starting to see like really huge numbers and huge growth in the audience, like from the hundreds of thousands to the millions, over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And there's and so the ad market is actually pretty good. Like the CPMs you get on podcast ads are much higher than you get in other. So that's one revenue stream. And then because you have this audience that like loves what you're doing and feels really, really connected to you, there's a way of like interacting with that audience that can be profitable. And and that's where I feel like so you hear a lot of the comedians do it, right? Like the comedians have all these podcasts, and what they do is they say, I'm going to be I'm on the road here, I'm on the road here, I'm on the road here, and they sell out their shows. And that's just one Yeah, that's
I got you. I'm
this is basically
hold up, Mickey. Hold up. I'm playing the devil's advocate.
Right,
I'm over
right.
here. I'm the investor. But I hear all that. That's a great theory. So when do we see a return on our $25,000?
Well, see, you're not interested in the return on your $25,000 right now.
Okay.
What you're building. You're building the next generation of podcast entertainment right now. So what we are right now, we're in the middle. We're in the very, very beginning stages of a golden era of audio. Right now. So if you think about audio and if you think about what actually happened, right? So you had the golden age of radio, TV comes along, and like radio basically stops, right? You got Orson Welles, all those guys, and they're done. Everybody moves to TV. But now, because you got podcasts, you got people in the cars, you got people with their headphones. Everybody's walking around with earbuds now, and we're a nation of multitaskers. You can't watch TV and multitask. You can't read and multitask, but you can listen and multitask. And so there's all this. There's all these new habits forming around listening, and there's people who need stuff to listen to. And so I feel like right now we're just like a talk show is the very, very beginning stages, but I think there can be like scripted series, like a Law and Order serialized that you could be, working out.
Back in the day,
to.
Orson Welles used to do that stuff, the shadow and all that.
And
what I'm trying to say to Alex is this is really Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Because right now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram is FREE, right? So people go on there every day. They got billions of people tuned in right now.
Right.
There's, a billion people tuned into Facebook and a billion tuned into Twitter typing. And it's free. What Twitter does is get ads and charge because they can say that we put it on the front page. And once the person tunes in, he's going to see, I'm just going to make up a name, priority. He's going to see the priority. That's ad money.
But I feel like ads are absolutely one revenue stream. But I think with like the great thing about podcasting is that I think that's just one. And I feel like if you have this connection with your audience, you know what your audience likes. Your audience likes what you like. If you give enough of them like something that they can buy that they're going to want to buy, that's associated with your show, like either you write a new song, you can say, hey guys, you can download this for 99 cents or whatever.
That's 100,000 people.
That's 100,000. And then you start none of it is sort of like gone are the days where you can just release an album and everybody has to go to a brick and mortar store and plop down $15.99 to buy it. Like that's over. And so so it's always going to be like being a little bit more scrappy, looking for every different single, all the different revenue opportunities that are out there. But it's all about like you and James Altucher were talking about, like it's a free world right now. And what you got to do is you got to like convince some percentage of your audience to pay for something.
This is what I see. And they're going to steal my ideas because every time I just sit back and come up with and I forecast something. But I see a day where almost every artist will have their own podcast. Now, if I had my own podcast, it would almost be like my own radio channel. So now, because it's my podcast, it's the Ice-T channel, and I play all new music on there and everything. And you're just starting to really focus your fans closer and closer. Then when you tell them to make that purchase, they probably will. It's definitely... You're going to have to make some money at some time. And people like to look at it like, well, Ice-T, well, you got money, but I got employees. I got other people. You dig what I'm saying? So whether you feel I don't need it or not, Mickey got to get paid. Mickey got kids. I got 20 guys that need to get paid. So at some point, you're going to have to ask to, donate to the cause, so to speak. But I believe in what you're saying. I think podcasting is the future. I think that people are getting more into watching the show they want. They don't just watch television anymore, stay on Channel 5. They pick show. Now with TiVo and DVR, they pre-pick what they want to see, and they're going to start pre-picking what they want to listen to. It's only right.
And the big thing that's changing, the big thing that I feel like is going to make this whole thing work or not is the car. So behavior in the car. The car was the sort of the last bastion of radio listening. Like, you're in your car. Most listening happens in the car. I'll give you some numbers. 240 million people listen to radio every day in America. And they listen for like 12 hours a day. Most of that's happening in the car. And
I agree.
Yeah, and for a long time, like you could only listen to the radio in the car. Now we're starting to see like you can sync up your phone, and pretty soon the dashboards are going to be like
auxiliary recording, listen straight to a podcast off your phone.
And and then Apple has like this CarPlay interface that's going into cars where the podcast button is right there on the screen. So like that's all happening right now. Like there's some cars that don't have a radio button anymore. So like things are changing, and it's going to be an on-demand listening world now, I think.
That's what we just talking about.
Yeah.
I believe I listen to my podcasts and other people's podcasts in my car when I'm sitting in traffic and stuff, because I got a problem. I'm listening to radio. They're playing the same 20 damn songs over and over again. I go to satellite radio. You know what I listen to on satellite? I listen to the Chill station, which is like ambient jazz music, because I just can't listen to people run their fucking mouth all day. Once again, the DJs drive me crazy.
Right.
The songs. So I'm just like, you know what? If I'm on, I would like to pick, but Coco listens to Pandora, which is kind of like on demand. She has one called the Depeche Mode channel, and it has all those 80s kinds of.
Yeah, you pick the music, it plays the music in that era.
And that's,
I mean, but most kids aren't looking at TV anymore.
No.
Most kids aren't listening to the radio. They're YouTubing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're podcasting. Some kids are podcasting because they're at their computer constantly. If they're not on their computer, they're on their smartphone.
On the phone, right.
So
Real
they're not
talk.
watching TV. They're not listening to radio. They are looking for other things to get involved in.
Yeah.
And podcast is going to be the number one thing like TV and radio was.
Yeah.
It is going to be that because it's going to be accessible to listen to them. They like in Final Level. They like a Combat Jack. They like an Alex show. They be able to go right to that show. And all the stuff is actually archived. So it ain't like you guys say, damn, I missed the one he did 3 months ago.
Right.
It's all right there.
Right. Yeah. So, but my bet. So this is the thing that's
What's
the
your
risky
bet?
part. Is it's sort of like so right now, like how much you guys spend making this podcast?
Nothing.
Right. So I'm talking about like spending, budgets, like maybe $100, $200, $300, $400,000 a year making each one of our shows. And the shows that I work for, that's what we spend. We have significant budgets. We send people out, we record them. They put them up in hotels. They have to do all sorts of stuff. It takes a long time. And if you can get the big enough audience, it'll work. But like if you can't get a big enough audience, then there's no way to make that money back. So that's my bet, is that there's room for that kind of
production.
And like the way I say it is sort of like, people say, do you listen to podcasts? But people don't say, do you watch TV or do you read books? They say, what TV do you watch? And I think podcasts are going to be the same thing. There's going to be this kind of podcast. There's going to be like the Ice-T podcast. There's going to be a podcast that's going to be like just like a completely, like a Game of Thrones style, like huge production budget.
You know why I believe you, Alex, is I believe because of this. When MP3 was first coming out, me and Mickey, we had the Rio machines. We were preaching till we were blue in the face about MP3 coming. No one wanted to listen to us. No one cared. They just thought we were fucking crazy. The theory, like when I see Mickey carrying a laptop, I'm like, look at your thug ass. We grew up in the hood. You're carrying computers around. So the theory that this stuff is nerdy or out of the realm of the normal person, it's just, it's coming. It's coming. All this stuff is coming, and it'll just become as normal as Twitter, as normal as Facebook. It's just, this is the future.
Yeah.
And it's what it's going to be. So I absolutely believe that podcasts will be something that'll become part of the fabric of the way we live in the future. And to be in on the base level, you starting companies and stuff, we're the pioneers right now, breaking down. Final Level's breaking down a big stereotype. They're just like, oh well, the urban kids or the hip kids, they don't want to listen. No, they're listening. They're getting a lot more out of this than regular radio. They're not going to get a chance to talk to Alex Bloomberg. They're not going to talk. No relationship to the mayor, but he still got that.
Right, that's Alex Bloomberg, baby.
And in the hood, in the streets, we got a term we call jewels. You ever heard that term?
I'm not sure. I'm not
okay,
sure
well,
the way you're
a
referring
jewel
to it.
is when you say something that you should save. You should store that away. Like you'll say something that's really prolific, and I'll say that's a jewel. Take that, store that. That's a good one, So when someone's on here saying some really informative stuff in the hood, they'll say he's dropping jewels right now. This is like, we need these bits of information. You're going to get it from podcasts.
Our podcast is we build with our people. Our people that listen to this, they're like, yo, they building over there.
That's another slang, which is our conversation. We're not just talking at each other. We're building. You say one thing, I say something else. I say something else, and it comes to a greater level of consciousness. Well, you know what, Alex? I mean, so where can the Final Level people follow you or reach you right now?
Well, so I'm talking about like this whole journey that I'm on, raising the money.
Yeah.
It's at Here Startup, HEAR startup.com, and that's where you can go and you can find out all about it, and you can listen to the first 2 episodes. There's another episode coming up in a couple days, and
Will we be on that one?
no, you're not going to be on that one. You're going to be on you'll be on a later one after that. Here Startup, HEAR startup.com, and you can find it on iTunes. Startup.
Alex Bloomberg is going to be the next podcast mogul, motherfuckers, and we know him personally. So even if we don't invest, he's going to take us out to dinner.
That's Alex.
Hey guys, as I always say, real strength is a strong body and a strong mind. That's why I strongly recommend Mailer's Aggressive Strength Testosterone Booster. As I mentioned earlier, they sent Mick and I some samples and the stuff works. Mick swears by it, and we highly recommend that you check it out. Unlike hormone replacement therapy or steroids, the Aggressive Strength Testosterone Booster increases your own production of testosterone by helping the brain communicate with the testes to signal greater production of testosterone. In addition, Aggressive Strength blocks conversion of testosterone into estrogen and improves your mood, focus, and definitely ramps up the sex drive big time. So you can only imagine what Mick Benzo's been up to, all right? Increase your strength, build muscle, lose fat, and enjoy a sex drive like when you were in your 20s by adding Aggressive Strength to your regimen today. For detailed information, feedback from real-world users, and Aggressive Strength nutrition supplement bundles, go to www.aggressivestrength.com. Be sure to use the offer code ICE when you order and you'll get 10% off. That's aggressivestrength.com, offer code ICE. Hey, yo, this is podcast number 18, Final Level. Mickey, believe it or not.
18, and we had Alex Bloomberg on it.
And that was great.
Alex Bloomberg, not Mayor Bloomberg, though.
Alex.
Bloomberg.
And that leads us into the philosophy segment. Okay, now the philosophy segment is brought to you by my Twitter page, which is called Final Level, and I always drop what I call the daily game. Just daily game is just what it takes to win the game of life. Philosophy. I don't necessarily read from Aristotle or Nietzsche or anybody. It just is what my conclusions I've come up with living the life I lived. And the other day I tweeted, you want it easy. My willingness to suffer gives me the advantage. And what I mean by that is that the people that can take the harder road, the people that are willing to go through it will have an advantage over those that want it easy. It's not easy. You're suffering right now, Alex. Am I right?
Yeah. I have documentary proof of my suffering that you can hear at herestartup.com.
And Mickey knows a lot of times in this business, you are going to have to do something. You're going to have to push yourself past being comfortable. Mm-hmm. Am I correct, Nick?
Correct. No question. No question.
And you deal with people every day, Mickey, that just want, whether they're artists and they just want this easy route. And you're like, wait a minute, man. You got it. Listen, even on Law and Order, people say, well, you got an easy job. I'm like, yo, do you think I really want to wake up at 5 a.m. when it's 20 degrees outside and go? It's like, when I roll out of bed, I say, this is what I'm getting paid for. I'm not getting paid for those sunny days when everything is fun.
Yes,
I'm getting paid
when the rain, the sleet, the snow is there. That's work. That's suffering to get what he needs to
get. And I mean, you can build on it. A lot of times, like even out on the road, wasn't that luxury out there that people think?
They think it's good, or they think it's cool, or they having a good time. It's actually work. It's work when you're out on the road. Whether you're touring and you're having a good time, and you see it from the audience side, you don't see the backstage part of it. It's really nothing happening back there. It's work. And get up early in the morning and go load in and load out. You think it's fun. It's to you like, oh, they having a great time. It's work.
Have you ever met? Am I allowed to be in
go
this segment?
ahead. Yes, it's
okay.
philosophy. You're part of it.
Have you guys ever met anybody who's met somebody who's really successful? You look at from the outside and you're like, man, it's working for them, and then you meet them and they're like, it's just all coming easy. No, but it's never easy for anybody, right?
No.
Everybody who from the outside looks like it's effortless or whatever. You see them and they're like scheduling meetings on the weekend, and they're like got like thousands of phone calls going on, and there's like, I've never seen anybody who's like, it's actually easy for them.
I'm watching this show right now.
You said something one time. You said you got the big yacht. You invite everybody over, but where's the owner at? Where's he at?
Downstairs on his phone, trying to pay for that damn shit. Brainstorming.
It ain't easy.
Trying to get and I watched this show right now called Hard Knocks. It's about the NFL, and it shows the players in preseason. I mean, you don't understand how hard these motherfuckers is working. And then, you see them out on the field and you might see them on a red carpet, but these dudes is out there really busting their ass trying to make it. And then, and I'm watching the show where the guy is like, at 90, we got 90 players, we got to cut to 75. And these are football players. This is all they do. They've been playing football since Pop Warner. They've been playing all the way up, and then they get cut. It's like, but I'm a fight fan. I train. You have to be willing to suffer. You can't stop right when it starts to get hard. That when it gets really hard, come on, Mick, how many times are you just doing something and you like, man, I'm not making no money right now, but I have
to push. I have to push. You can't give up. Even when you're at the top, you can't stop. He just said the story about the guy that owns that yacht. Everybody's partying, champagne, caviar, everything is going. Yeah, where's Alex? Alex is downstairs on the phone cutting another damn deal because it ain't easy keeping this.
No. Well, in the infamous pimp movie, The Mac, one of the most famous lines is there's only one thing harder than being the Mac. That's staying the Mac.
Goldie, baby.
So once you become the man, now trying to stay that person is very, very difficult. So I just try to bust that bubble. We got the song Pop Bubble Full of Bullshit. I try to burst that bubble for everybody out there that listens to me, that whatever you're dealing with, when it's hard, I mean, when they say shit gets tough, the tough get going, don't ever believe that there's some place where this actually becomes easier. It's always a struggle. You're always going to set new goals. And even if your business gets easy, life is always going to be a fucking problem. I mean, you're going to deal with people dying. You're going to deal with just the overall life we live in, which is you'll never be in a safe place where it'll be absolute happiness. One of my main mottos is, if you get to live to be 100, guess what you get? You get to see all your friends die. So the win is a loss.
Right.
So,
it sounds, and I feel like this sounds like a sort of a depressing thing.
It is depressing.
It is depressing, but it's not because if you actually live that way, if you actually are knowing like it's never easy, it's always going to be, you always just got to keep showing up and working and struggling. Everybody's doing it. Then that means that when you do have a nice a nice moment, you can really take advantage of it.
And
right?
also, Alex,
like, whereas like, oh, this isn't going to be this way all the time. I better take advantage.
If you understand that it's a struggle, you won't depress yourself with the struggle.
Right.
You won't depress yourself with the struggle because it's a struggle.
Right.
You might not have hit the jackpot yet, but it's a struggle for everybody. You will get depressed. You know, the way I don't become depressed is understand it's fucked up for everybody.
And that's sort of what, and like on a certain level, that's what we're supposed to do, right? Like that's what, you know, I mean, with like, you know, when we were all running around the jungle, like we had to like, you got up every day, you didn't have anything to eat. You had to go get something to eat, right? Like that's sort of, now we have all this, now we can eat pretty easily, but we still have to like, I think we have sort of a need a little bit to like struggle.
Once you don't struggle or suffer, once you get to this point that, you know, where everything is done for you and you don't have to work and this, that, and the third, your body and your shit can just start to deteriorate. It's like, you know, your ideas go down, you probably will get fat, you just, you know, and it's not money. It's just you have to be willing to be in unhappy places. You have to be willing, you know, you're like the prize fighter. The guy that can go through the most pain is going to win. He's going to win. So that's my philosophy. My philosophy is, you know, you have to have the ability to suffer if you want to win in this. If you're looking for everything to come easy, you're going to suffer on the other side. You're going to suffer regardless.
You can sum it up as they say, no pain, no gain. And that's athletic style, but still in all, that goes in the walks of life. No pain, no gain.
That was philosophy. Hey, so this is Final Level Podcast number 18, and this is music. Now, trip off this. I just got finished doing a song. They're doing this album where they connect metal artists with new pop songs.
Okay.
Now, you know, when we were out on the Mayhem Fest, we became good friends with the kids from Texas, Upon a Burning Body.
Yeah.
UABB. This is a bad little. These guys are young, but we saw them decimate the crowd.
Yeah, they got something
every
going
day.
On. They got something going on.
They're a bad band.
What's it called? Upon a
Burning Body. And they're like some young kids out of Texas, but they're just hardcore and they're badass. So I became friends with them. Little Ice, my son, was on tour. He became friends with them. And so I get a call from my label. They go, hey, they're about to remake a pop song. So I'm like, which one? And they go, Turn Down for What? Which is
Turn Down for What?
Yeah, Little John. So at first I was like, that's strange, you know. But I started to do my investigations on the song. So I listened to the record. First I didn't know how they were going to remake it. But I go on YouTube and I look for the video, and they got a video with DJ Snake's remix. This motherfucking video has 113 million views.
113 million. Turn It Down for What by Lil J?
Lil J
Lil
and DJ
John.
Snake. Now the record.
Okay.
The record's got Turned Down for What? 4 words in it. But this video is sick. As soon as you finish listening to this podcast, go check this video out. It's ridiculous. It's this guy that's got this crazy dick, and his dick jumps. It like possesses people. Jumps in this lady's titties. I can't really explain this video.
I gotta see this video, though.
We're gonna see the video at the end of the
Alex,
podcast.
we gotta watch this video.
Wait.
113 million views. Now we're excited. Body Count, my new video, Talk Shit Get Shot, almost is at 1 million video. We got 1 million views. 850,000.
We good.
No, I'm a bitch. 113 million video. 100, not 13 million. 113 million views.
Turn It Down for What?
Oh, once I saw that, I'm like, oh, this record has hit potential.
That's why we gotta go back in.
I went in.
Burning Body.
I went in. I laid my vocals, and I don't know when that's gonna come out. I think it's gonna come out on Sumerian, but it's a song with me and UABB. They're on Twitter at UABB, and it's called Turn Down for What. We kind of flipped it a little bit, made it more metal, more hardcore. Of course, I'm on there talking shit, but in the process of doing this, I came across this video, And I think that's our music segment. Go check out this video and make it 120 million views. Whoa, that's a beautiful yacht. You see that boat? From my house, you can look outside.
That's a nice boat.
This is a nice studio.
But
Now, it's hard to believe that guy's having a fucked up life, right? It's really
He's
hard.
downstairs making some calls or trying to figure out Monday what meeting he got.
That shit is nice. It's always, that's the one thing, no matter what you got, there's always some shit you wish you had. That's very fly.
Well, before we
They
leave,
say you don't
in
need
this-
a yacht.
He's like,
Before
you can tell
we
me,
leave in
he's
this-
just
He
Stop
stopped.
saying
He just
that.
stopped. Hold on, man. The motherfucker just stopped.
He wants you to see it.
You son of a
Turn it
bitch.
down for what?
He's on that motherfucker pimping hard. Hey, no, he's turning around. It's cold. We over here in New Jersey. We looking out of my window, and there's this beautiful yacht. I mean, I'm talking about a real yacht.
And I want to throw something up in the music section before y'all forget. March 28th, March 29th, Irvine, California. The Art of Rap. Yes, the movie that Ice-T made, The Art of Rap, will become a festival. Over 50 artists will be there. March 28th, 29th in Irvine, California. Just keep you posted. The Art of Rap is coming.
We're going to keep you posted during the podcast. This is Mickey's baby. When we did The Art of Rap, we asked about getting this tour together. Early in the podcast, as we talked, it was an idea. And then after coming off Mayhem Fest, we connected with John Reese of the Mayhem Fest. And he's helping us organize this tour. It'll be coming out March 28th. You're going to hear more about it.
Holy shit, this is a good bill.
It's a really good bill. We ain't going to say no names
Yeah,
yet.
we ain't
Okay,
kicking
okay.
in no names on
All right.
nobody.
We
The
gotta-
Art of Rap. Remember the name. If you get the call, please take it serious.
You ain't going to want to miss it. Me, P.E. There's a lot of dope people on this tour.
You can't say anybody on this list.
No, we don't want to. We gonna tease them a little bit with it. We don't
Not
hear
even
that.
one of
too.
them. Not
Wait
even
till
one.
you get
Well, which
Okay.
one? Which one you want to say?
Well, you got like 50
Name one on there.
acts
That
here.
Which one
pops
you
out.
like?
Well, I
Name
mean,
one.
the first one up here, Public Enemy. Like,
There you go. Say no more.
Yeah.
P.E.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Don't believe the hype. Yeah.
So Alex, we about to sign out on the podcast. Anything else you want to plug or say? Or
No, I mean, just I would love, come and check us out at hearstartup.com.
Where
Here,
say
start-
it again. Say it again.
Hearstartup.com. HEAR startup.com. And that'll keep you abreast. So that'll keep everybody, we're doing this podcast about starting the company, and then once we get the company up and started, all the news will be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
And in closing, I always want to say thank you for everybody that's been listening to the podcast. We made it to 18. Tell your friends. Check out my podcast on the Combat Jack Show if you want to know every fucking thing about me. I have a fucking story of my life I did on that podcast. So we're signing out. And then signing out, Mick Benzo and Ice-T always say, don't think everything we think, because then only one of us is thinking.
Peace.
That's how I'm living. 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 That's how I'm living.